The Aspen winter gathering was in full swing at my family's exclusive mountain chalet, a property they'd bragged about for years. The champagne was flowing, the caviar was imported, and the condescension as always came complimentary. "So, Alexandra," Dad began, swirling his crystal glass, "still playing with those airplane models?" I adjusted my cashmere turtleneck hand-tailored from my own luxury aviation wear line, though they'd never recognize it. The chalet's great room felt stifling, filled with their desperate attempts to maintain their image of old-money aviation royalty. "It's not playing, Dad," I replied, checking my phone as another alert flashed. My company had just processed more private flights in the last hour than their entire fleet handled in a year. "I'm building something." "Building?" My sister Victoria laughed, her diamond-encrusted watch catching the firelight. "Leasing 2 small planes isn't building, darling. It's barely even trying." If they only knew those 2 small planes were just a cover for Skyline Enterprises, the largest private aviation empire in history. That their precious Thompson Aviation was about to become a footnote in my company's portfolio. "You need to be realistic," Mom chimed in, signaling for more champagne. "Victoria's running Thompson Aviation's international division. That's real aviation." Dad nodded proudly. 30 years I've built this company. Now Victoria's carrying on the legacy while you're playing entrepreneur with toy planes." My phone buzzed discreetly. A message from my COO, "Acquisition complete. All Thompson Aviation assets transferred. Awaiting your signal." "How many jets in the Thompson fleet now, Victoria?" I asked innocently. 57, she preened. "Largest private fleet in the Northeast. Just added 3 Gulfstreams last month." I hid my smile behind my champagne glass. 57? Skyline process that many takeoffs every hour. "And Alexandra?" Victoria's husband James asked with mock concern. "How many planes in your, what do you call it, airplane rental business?" Before I could answer, the chalet's intercom crackled to life. "Thompson 1 requesting clearance for landing at private strip. Standing by for owner confirmation." Dad reached for the intercom but static cut him off. "Authorization denied," a new voice announced. "Thompson 1 now registered under Skyline Enterprises. Awaiting clearance from CEO Alexandra Thompson." The silence that fell over the room was deafening. Victoria's champagne glass slipped from her fingers, shattering on the imported marble floor. What is this?" Dad stammered. I stood slowly, walking to the floor-to-ceiling windows as Thompson 1, their prized corporate jet, descended toward the private airstrip. "That would be my plane now. Along with the other 56 in your fleet." "Your plane?" Mom's voice cracked. "That's impossible. Skyline Enterprises is the largest private aviation company in the world," I finished for her. "Worth about $300 billion as of market close today. Though with this acquisition we'll probably hit $350 billion by morning." Victoria's diamond watch suddenly looked very cheap compared to the empire her failing sister had built. "This is a joke," she sputtered. "You can't, you don't." I pressed the intercom. "Skyline Actual. Authorization granted. Welcome to the fleet, Thompson 1. "Thank you, Ms. Thompson," the pilot replied. "The rest of the Thompson fleet is being rebranded as we speak. Skyline logos are being applied at all terminals." Dad's face went from red to white. "All terminals?" "Yes, Dad," I smiled. "Every Thompson Aviation plane, hangar and facility now belongs to Skyline. Those toy planes you mocked? They just bought your entire company." But this was just the beginning. They hadn't seen my real empire yet. The private airstrip lights flickered as Thompson 1, now Skyline Prime, touched down, its fresh Skyline logos gleaming in the winter sunset. The family's prized jet was the first visible sign of their crumbling aviation dynasty. And I was just getting started. The chalet's great room transformed from a family gathering into an impromptu command center as my executive team entered. The expensive furniture was quickly rearranged to accommodate holographic displays showing real-time flight data across the globe, all powered by Skyline's proprietary technology. "Ms. Thompson," my CEO Michael Chin approached, carrying advanced tablets. "Global operations are transitioning smoothly. All Thompson Aviation assets are being integrated into Skyline's network. Their technology is, well, let's say vintage. Dad gripped his whiskey glass tighter. Vintage? We just upgraded our entire fleet management system last year. To technology Skyline considered obsolete 3 years ago, I corrected. That state-of-the-art tracking system you're so proud of? My company processes more flight data in 10 minutes than Thomson Aviation handles in a year. Victoria stood up, her perfect composure cracking. This is ridiculous. We have contracts, partnerships. All now under Skyline's control. I cut her off, nodding to Michael, who activated the chalet's full display system, another Skyline innovation they'd never noticed. The walls came alive with data. Thousands of aircraft crisscrossing the globe, advanced manufacturing facilities, space aviation initiatives, and technological breakthroughs that made traditional private aviation look like the Wright brothers' first attempt. Every private jet you see in the sky, I explained to my stunned family, every charter flight, every luxury air service, 80% of it runs on Skyline's infrastructure. We don't just own planes, we control the entire private aviation ecosystem. Ms. Thompson, Sarah, my chief innovation officer, entered. NASA's director is on line 1 about the Lunar Shuttle program. Mom's crystal glass slipped from her fingers. Lunar Shuttle? His mom. While Victoria was bragging about 3 new Gulfstreams, I was designing the first private spacecraft fleet. Those toy planes you mocked? They're evolving into interplanetary vessels. The displays showed Skyline's next-generation projects. Hypersonic jets, orbital shuttles, and aviation technologies that were redefining the boundaries of flight. Your pilot certification, Victoria? I continued, watching her flinch. It's being re-evaluated. Skyline's standards are somewhat higher than Thomson's rather relaxed requirements. Re-evaluated. She stood up, outraged. I'm the best pilot in the company. We're the best pilot, I corrected. Let's review your actual flight record, shall we? Michael projected Victoria's flight history onto the screens. Covered up incidents, ignored safety protocols, and mediocre performance that Dad had painted as excellence. That near miss over the Atlantic last year? I raised an eyebrow. The one Dad buried with his connections? Skyline's AI detected it within seconds of acquiring your records. That's classified information. Victoria protested. Nothing is classified from Skyline's systems. We track every aircraft, every flight path, every decision made in the air. Those close calls you thought were hidden? We've had them documented for months. Dad finally found his voice. The board won't stand for this. The board. I laughed softly. They approved the sale unanimously. After seeing Skyline's technology, they practically begged to be acquired. Would you like to know what they really think of Thomson Aviation's management? The screens shifted to show confidential board communications. Scathing critiques of Dad's leadership, concerns about Victoria's competence, and desperate attempts to modernize before becoming obsolete. Ms. Thompson, Michael interrupted, the Space Division needs your approval for the Mars transport prototype. Space Division? James whispered. Yes, dear brother-in-law. Those unrealistic dreams you ridiculed at last year's Christmas party? They're now Skyline's fastest-growing segment. We're not just changing aviation, we're revolutionizing space travel. The displays showed massive hangars housing spacecraft prototypes, testing facilities that dwarfed anything Thomson Aviation had ever built, and revolutionary propulsion systems that would make traditional jets obsolete. Your office at Thomson headquarters, Victoria? I continued. It's being converted into Skyline's AI flight control center. Don't worry. We found you a nice desk in the charter booking department. Booking department? Her voice cracked. But I'm the international division head. We're the division head, I emphasized. Skyline doesn't maintain positions based on family names. You'll need to earn your place like everyone else. The screens displayed real-time updates as Thomson Aviation's assets were absorbed into Skyline's empire. Hangars being rebranded, aircraft being upgraded, and staff being retrained in Skyline's advanced systems. Speaking of earning your place, I nodded to Michael, who distributed new employment contracts. Let's discuss your future roles in my company. The contracts made their previous positions look like internships. Dad's face grew paler with each page he turned. This is entry level, he sputtered. You'll be joining our ground operations team. Victoria, the flight attendant training program has an opening. Mom, the terminal services department needs staff. Terminal services? Mom's voice was barely audible. Consider it an education, I smiled. You always said I needed to understand aviation from the ground up. Now you can do the same literally. But the real shock was still to come. The luxury chalet had become mission control, its panoramic windows offering a perfect view as more Thompson aviation jets landed, each one now bearing Skyline's distinctive logo. But I wasn't done. The real devastation was about to begin. Ms. Thompson, Michael announced, the Global Aviation Summit livestream is ready. They're waiting for your keynote on the future of flight. Perfect timing, I smiled, standing as the displays transformed into a direct feed to Dubai. Aviation industry leaders, aerospace pioneers, and government officials waited for my address. Distinguished colleagues, I began, watching Mom's perfect makeup run as she realized her delusional daughter was addressing the world's aviation elite. Skyline's acquisition of Thompson Aviation marks the beginning of our complete transformation of global private flight. Victoria's hands trembled as she watched billionaires and heads of state nod along to my every word. Remember when you said I'd never understand real aviation, Dad? I turned to him during a pause. Pay attention, you might learn something about the future of flight. The screens filled with Skyline's revolutionary systems, AI-powered flight control, quantum navigation, and aerospace technologies that made traditional aviation look primitive. As of tonight, I continued, addressing both Dubai and my family, Skyline Enterprises controls 80% of global private aviation. Every charter flight, every private jet, every luxury air service, it all operates through our network. James, Victoria's husband, sank deeper into his chair. But that means your precious fleet management system? I smiled. It's been running on my technology all along. Those advanced navigation tools you bragged about? They're simplified versions of Skyline's basic systems. The displays showed real-time flight data, thousands of aircraft coordinated by Skyline's quantum computers every second. Ms. Thompson, Sarah rushed in. The European Space Agency is requesting immediate consultation on their private space transport integration. Dad's aviation empire dreams suddenly seemed very small as he watched his daughter casually discuss revolutionizing space travel. Your new employment agreements, I turned back to my family, require complete retraining in Skyline systems. That means learning how real aviation technology works. Michael distributed updated documents, terms that made their previous roles look like paper airplane competitions. These positions are probationary, I explained. No more hiding behind the Thompson name, Victoria. No more covering up incidents with Dad's connections. But I've been flying for 15 years. Victoria protested. In obsolete aircraft, I corrected. Skyline's entry-level pilots understand more about modern aviation than Thompson's entire flight crew. The screens displayed their new roles in excruciating detail, basic positions requiring extensive retraining and actual merit-based advancement. Ms. Thompson, Sarah interrupted, the Mars Transport Division is ready for your review. And the Lunar Shuttle network is online. Lunar Shuttle? Dad choked on his whiskey. Stat. While you were bragging about your 57 jets, I was establishing humanity's first interplanetary transportation network. Those model planes you mocked? They're now connecting Earth to the stars. The displays showed Skyline's space initiatives, orbital stations, lunar bases, and Martian landing pads that redefined the meaning of private aviation. By the way, I added, those flight incidents you covered up? They're being investigated. All of them. Even the ones you think we don't know about. Victoria's face went from pale to ashen. You can't. I can, and I did. Skyline's AI found some interesting safety violations. The FAA will be very interested in our findings. Mom tried one last appeal. Alexandra, darling, surely we can discuss this as family. Family. I laughed. Like when you discussed my future at the country club, telling everyone I was wasting my potential on aviation startups. Or when Victoria told her pilot friends I was playing with toy planes. The screens showed more breaking news. Skyline Enterprises CEO Alexandra Thompson becomes aviation's first trillionaire, revolutionizes global flight. Trillionaire. James whispered, loosening his tie. Yes, dear brother-in-law. That hobby you mocked built something bigger than your entire family's fortune multiplied by 1,000. Want to see what else your delusional sister-in-law owns? Michael began displaying Skyline's complete portfolio. Aerospace companies, manufacturing facilities, space ventures, an empire that spanned Earth and reached into the solar system. Your precious Thompson Aviation? I continued, it's being completely restructured. The name will remain as a case study in aviation history museums. The displays showed the transformation plans. Thompson's outdated hangars becoming Skyline's quantum computing centers, their traditional terminals converted to spacecraft launching facilities. But our clients, Victoria started. Are already Skyline clients, I cut her off. Have been for years. Every flight they booked went through our systems. We just let Thompson Aviation pretend they were still relevant. Just then, every phone in the room buzzed, global news alerts about Skyline's latest innovation. Personal flying vehicles that would revolutionize urban transportation. That's right, I confirmed, watching their faces. While you were proud of your little fleet, I was reinventing human flight itself. Sarah displayed the market reactions. Traditional aviation companies collapsing as Skyline's new technologies rendered them obsolete. Thompson Aviation would have been one of them, if I hadn't bought it first. One final detail. I stood, smoothing my turtleneck. That private airstrip you're so proud of? It's being converted to a spacecraft launch facility. But don't worry, you'll still get to see it. We will. Victoria asked hopefully. Yes. The maintenance crew works night shifts. I smiled. Welcome to the future of aviation, where success isn't inherited, it's earned. Something you're all about to learn the hard way. Walking toward the door, I paused at the threshold. Oh, and that members-only pilots club you love so much? Skyline just bought it. Your memberships are being reassessed. The displays showed one final headline: The New Queen of the Skies. How Alexandra Thompson built a trillion-dollar empire while her family mocked her dreams. Because sometimes the best revenge isn't just success. It's success so massive it forces your critics to work for you. And I was just getting started. As if to emphasize my point, a sonic boom shook the chalet windows. One of Skyline's hypersonic jets streaked across the evening sky, leaving Thompson Aviation's old fleet looking like vintage propeller planes. The future of flight had arrived. And the Thompson family was about to learn what real aviation looked like, from the ground floor up.